welcome everyone to another episode of Vega Insights. I'm Luke Beto, President and CEO of Vega Imaging Informatics. With us today is Vijay Vonguru. Vijay is the CEO of Vesta Teleradiology, and Vesta serves hospitals and imaging centers across 40 states. Vijay is a great friend of mine and one that I've known for many years. We work together, and we're excited to have him on the show. We're here today to talk about diagnostic AI for medical imaging, and Vesta has some interesting experience that I think will be exciting to share. So, Vijay, let's just talk about what really interests you about AI that is available to your practice. What do you look for? There's so many solutions out there, and you've been sort of an early adopter here with some of these solutions. Just tell us a little bit about what you look for in a diagnostic AI solution.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, so obviously, AI is pretty interesting area for me. My background, I have a master's in computer science. So before I got into healthcare, I was doing a lot of technology and architecture stuff. So AI, right, goes into that. So it's a combination of exciting, seeing the architecture, the technology, and how it's progressing. I follow that regularly over the years. And then obviously the other part is how it helps our business, right? So, if you go to the RSNA show, you have the entire, that's almost like half the section now is talking about AI. Every other company talks about AI. And I kind of remember back in 2000 when they were using .com as the thing. My lawnmower had a .com. So that's
Right.
how it was. So now everyone is talking about AI, right? But what exactly is that, and where it is adding value, and how it is, and what are the use cases? What are the area? We can use AI, but if the value it is adding is only very little at a very small percentage, there's no return on investment for all the effort you're doing. So it's a combination of, I would say, the technology, the areas that it will cover, and do you have those cases in your system to where it falls? Because every AI has what you call fine print that they don't cover. They'll say, oh, we do all X-rays, for example, X-ray fractures. They say they
Mhm.
do it. But then when you look closely, some of them, they don't say, we don't do spines, we don't do pediatric, we don't do
Mhm.
all these fine prints that people miss. And if you handle a lot of pediatric cases, then you should be watching that aspect very closely.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
those are the things that, just pay attention to.
Yeah. There's just so much hype. There's so much excitement about AI, and you hear all these things. This is why I'm so excited to talk to you specifically, because you've got the firsthand experience, and you can tell us about your experience using diagnostic AI firsthand within your practice. One thing that I'd like to bring up here is your decision to go with a platform solution, specifically CARPL, to help you deploy diagnostic AI solutions. Tell me what went into that decision because, obviously there's the other approach of just contracting and deploying these solutions all independently. What was it about implementing a platform that attracted you?
So, I talked to quite a few AI vendors. I I kind of knew what AI algorithms to go with, right? I looked at the criteria like we talked about, what kind of cases, what kind of things they have in a fine print. But then when I started, we call it the devil is in the details, right? It looks good that, their demos look good and it serves my purpose. But then how do we implement that? Right. When we are talking about, it's not just the algorithm, right? It's how those images, the overlays come back and then how they get flagged. Would the radiologist know about it? And then if there is a critical aspect, we need that to be prioritized on the queue because, if the doctor is reading from the top, you don't want this case to be sitting at the bottom, right? This needs to be moved to the top. And then we have AI-based dictation software that, if there are any data like measurements or anything that this AI is sending back, and I want that to be integrated into the dictation. So all these things take, multiple back and forth integration. And so they have to work with the PACS vendor very, very closely. And when you see all these things that it has to work, then that's when I realized it's not a good idea to go with the individual guys. Platform that they take care of all these things. And so I don't have to worry about that aspect. So then I can just focus on the algorithm itself.
Yeah. Let's dig into this. This is really my forte, and I love talking about this. You guys are cloud based. You don't have a data center that you manage at your office or anything for your packs or for Carpool or any AI solutions. Everything's in the cloud. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And so you said you serve facilities across 40 states. So all these imaging facilities and hospitals, they're sending you studies from all over the country. And tell us just generally how this architecture works. And let's use the use case of a study that's eligible for one of your AIs. So let's say I don't know, a forearm X-ray. You mentioned you have some fracture detection AI in place. So somebody does a forearm X-ray at a hospital in Florida where you have them on your program. Tell us a little bit about the architecture, that the data flow for that study.
So the studies from the facility come to the cloud. So the cloud is hosted in Azure, Microsoft Azure, right? So the DICOM images, they come through. In some cases, we have VPN. In some cases, we have a gateway. It's basically a DICOM router,
Mm-hmm.
encrypted DICOM router. So it sends these images to the Azure cloud to our PACS server.
So they go to the PACS first.
Correct.
They're sending them with a VPN or a router to your PACS first. Okay, I'm with you so far.
Correct. So it goes to the PACS server, and from the PACS server, it goes to the CARPL, in this case, the AI platform server. And so they go there, and then from on their server, they apply the algorithm that we have based on our criteria. We have the criteria, preset criteria. If it is this kind of modality, this kind of type of study, use this algorithm and all that stuff.
So Vijay, can I ask, do all studies go to CARPL? And then it's CARPL that does the analysis. Okay, this is a forearm X-ray. This needs to go to this algorithm. Or is it Ramsoft, your PACS vendor, where there's some sort of orchestration layer there where it's determining, okay, based on this modality and body part procedure code, we're going to send it to CARPL. How does it work at that level? Do you know?
Yeah. So right now, so it is at the PACS level. So we have a filter mechanism in our PACS itself before sending it to CARPL. But I think CARPL also has the ability to do the filtration on their end. But I think we controlled it at the PACS
Okay.
by create extra, you know, extra packets transfer and pay money on the.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to send things that you don't have an algorithm for. So let's save traffic and potentially costs if we can do that. And certainly I think there are packs out there that have advanced routing capabilities like that. Others may be limited in that area, but then that's where I think third-party solutions could be brought in to help with that workflow orchestration or leverage the workflow orchestration that the platform vendor can do. So that's definitely an interesting consideration when we look at the architecture. Okay, so you've explained to me the inbound side of it, right? Getting the studies to the right algorithm. Now, how about the output side of it? How do you handle the AI outputs?
So the studies from the CARPL server after the algorithm is done. So it comes as a DICOM series, and then that is added as an overlay, as an extra series on the study. And then that is when the study comes to us from the user perspective. That's when we see in our queue that this is a completed study
Okay, so
that's visible to
what I'm
us.
hearing is that CARPL has done these integrations with the AI solutions that they vetted and put on their platform. And so the output goes from the AI solution to CARPL first, right? And then CARPL routes it down to your PACS. And your PACS RampSoft has an integration with CARPL, so they're working together. Because your radiologists read off of a PACS-driven work list, is that right? And so that's the work list that needs to be adjusted when there are these significant findings from the AI. It's your PACS work list that needs to be adjusted. And so it sounds like your PACS vendor and the platform vendor have done the integration work to enable that work list prioritization that you're looking for. Is that right?
Yes, yeah, because that is important for us. We wanted these studies to be moved up onto the top.
Yeah.
So we get those things done as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Now, my understanding also is that CARPL has a widget that helps with handling these AI outputs. Have you guys deployed that widget for any certain study types?
Not yet. I mean, we just started with these guys. We are basically at this stage, making sure that the radiologists are, excuse me, the radiologists are, you know, able to see all the things that the algorithm indicated, and making sure that we capture all the things that are being tracked by the AI internally to make sure that the doctor did look at it. So we are going through that phase right now. We haven't gotten to that widget thing yet.
Okay. Well, there's so many different types of AI outputs. They could generate a DICOM SC, which is like a screen capture image that could be mixed in with everything else. A lot of radiologists don't love that because that just adds another extra image they have to deal with. You mentioned there's DICOM presentation states and overlays. Are you doing things like that where they can sort of toggle the AI finding on and off, or what? How do they see the output in the end?
Yeah, so they have a separate series, right? So you have one more series of that image, that
Okay,
was
so it
reviewed.
probably is like a DICOM SC, like an extra image or image series that they have to go through, and that's in my opinion maybe the a good first step because most PACS viewers support the DICOM SCs. Or maybe these AI solutions can even generate image types that match the modality of the study. So maybe there's another DX object or CT object. But I think as you start getting more aggressive with your integrations, DICOM presentation states could be one thing. So instead of yet another thing, they could be toggled on and off. That's pretty common in mammography. You've seen probably CAD annotations that can be toggled on and
Yes.
off. That's a step up, I think, from the secondary captures, and then there's DICOM SR objects. So, have you worked with DICOM SR outputs so far in your journey with this?
So that is one of the next things that we are working on. We are trying to
Okay.
integrate that with our AI-based dictation software.
Yeah.
So we want to capture the SR and then automatically bring in into our report module. So that way the report, when it opens up for the radiologist, it has all this data pre-populated and all that stuff.
Yeah. To me, this is the epitome of AI powered workflow for radiology, right? 'Cause you've got AI working with AI. You've got AI generating the output as a DICOM SR. Here's all the measurements, here's all the findings. It was all done for you by AI. And then the AI on the reporting side, interpreting that structured report object, making sense of it. Me as a human, I look at a DICOM SR output and it's just a bunch of gobbledygook. I can't make sense of it that easily, but a computer, that's a perfect type of structure for AI computer based model to receive data, make sense of it. And then some of these newer reporting solutions are really fantastic, being able to generate nice looking radiology reports that take in data from SR objects like that, data from prior reports, other clinical information that is presented to it, the patient's chart. So we're here today mostly to talk about the diagnostic AI side of it, but it kind of goes hand in hand with the reporting side, right? Um,
I mean, it's really exciting. The things that I mean, what they were showing me. I mean, that, it's like, I mean, we just started. I mean, the possibilities I feel like are endless. I mean, especially in all these little things. There are a lot of measurements and this and that. The doctors, they're busy. They're spread too thin. They were dictating all those things are take time. And any of these things that if these AI algorithms have these capabilities, then all those things automatically getting transferred over. I mean, it is good for the referring physicians. They would like to see all these measurements. Obviously, the radiologists are busy. They don't want to do any of those things. They just give, they want to give only what is the abnormal findings or that kind of thing. So this is where I feel the AI can fill the gaps on what the end client, which is our referring physicians, want, supplementing what the radiologist can do.
yeah, exactly. Just sort of eliminating all the busy work that goes into this and, you know, using all the data that's there. I think ultrasound machines and other acquisition devices for years have had the capability of capturing these types of measurements. And also, the concept of a DICOM SR output is not new, actually. Machines have been sending them over to PACS for many years, but they often don't get used until now, where we're now finally able to start leveraging those and allowing machines to interpret those and then convert them into a human readable radiology report. Very exciting stuff. I'm so excited for the day when I can hear a firsthand testimonial that yes, we fully automated our ultrasound workflow. We got rid of the paper worksheets and we now do everything electronically, and it's a single point of data capture and data entry where the measurements are generated on the machine and they flow all the way through to the report where they're validated by the radiologist. The Yeah, that's the dream, and we're starting to see the light on how that could be possible, right? But I don't think we're quite there yet. But it takes innovators and also practices like yours to take those first steps into this, and eventually that's what it's going to take to get there. So um, I do applaud you guys for all the work you're doing here with this, and I know it's not easy to be it's on the early end of adoption of some of this stuff, but that's going to put you that much further ahead in the end, I think.
Yeah, no, I mean, we are excited. In fact, the thing you were talking about, we want to, we've been pushing our clients to, get rid of these worksheets where people write on paper. But we are talking to one of the vendors where I think they're very close to cracking it, the OCR kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it is actually capturing the measurements from the worksheet and creating an SR object for us.
Okay.
So because some of the clients, because we have so many clients, some of them are a little older, they don't have ability to enter the measurements directly in the ultrasound machine in an efficient way. Every machine has it, or a lot of machines have it, but it's very cumbersome. They have to go through so many screens, and so they don't do it. They just write it on a paper. But I think this particular vendor we're talking to, and we're working with them on integrating and testing it out, is it can actually take a picture and then do an OCR and can, I mean, the accuracy seemed to be in our trials so far, accuracy seems to be pretty good. So I
Mm-hmm.
think I think hopefully we're very close to
Yeah.
cracking.
That's a great perspective. I think sometimes just as humans, we see the goal that we want and we expect there to be a leap all at once to that goal. When in reality, it's often, little steps here and there that eventually get us to the goal. And it might not be the straight line that we envision. So time will tell with this. If the AI based reporting advances quickly, and is really good at taking those SRs and incorporating them into reports. But the other side of it is taking longer. We have to implement workarounds like that or interim solutions until the day when the whole thing can be just completely seamless and as efficient as possible. And so just setting the right expectations with all of this AI stuff is very important. And understanding that you have to take small steps one at a time and attack the problems one by one to reach the goals that we have. Great. I am interested to hear, we talk about how we're hopeful of this and that to really improve our efficiencies and everything. But let's hear, does anything come to mind in terms of a success story where you've used something and you've been able to demonstrate an improvement in efficiency or cost savings or an improvement in accuracy, something like that, something that you've actually done so far today?
I mean, quality is a huge thing for us because we serve hospitals. Some of them are level one trauma, so quality is like always on our head. And when you are doing a lot of volume, I mean, there are misses that happen. I mean, radiologists are spread too thin. We're working 24 by 7. So it's whatever we can do, right? I mean, and especially with these AI algorithms, I mean, we are definitely seeing the improvement in quality. And some of them can be as simple as, there are multiple fractures, they only mention, the radiologist says, hey, I see, you know, two or three of them. Fourth one, they may not even mention that
Hmm.
because, from their perspective, yeah, I did most of them kind of, right? Sometimes there are people like that. So this is kind of pushing them, and it has on one front very
Right.
simple things on one front, but the other front is all about is prioritization, right? I mean, it's like, we are always getting backed up with all these studies sitting, any study which is a critical one which is sitting down below. Sometimes these clients, they don't inform us that there is a possible study. Usually they're supposed to inform us that this looks like a, we call it super stat, which is anything that is critical we treat higher than a stat because we have so many stat cases. And sometimes they forget to inform us, but this is capturing right there, and then so we put them
Sure.
right on the top, and then getting this
Yeah.
thing
I
quickly.
think the case for prioritization is crystal clear for most people. If we can bump those to the top of the list and get those results out to the people that need them faster, then that's a win. I'd like to go back to the quality thing. So you mentioned trying to just have a higher quality in the reports that go out by comparing the AI results to what the radiologist said on their report. And we were talking earlier before this, and you were talking to me about the QA team that you've got dedicated to trying to hit the highest level of quality. So tell me about how your team is leveraging your platform and your solution to actually find those cases where the AI said one thing and the report said something else before it goes out. How does that work at Vesta?
So what we believe here is quality doesn't happen by hoping for it. You have to work to it, and you have to do things about it. And sometimes it's expensive, but it is what it is. So we have a team that every study, when it is done, when the radiologist says, I'm done with the study, when he hits submit, then it goes to our QA team and they review the things, and they have criteria, and looking at the basic stuff, right? Laterality. So we have a checklist. We look at all these things, and anytime they see that, like the facility asked for a certain thing, right, and rule out pneumonia, whereas the doctor didn't mention anything about it, right? So all these things, right, it is because the radiology use their standard templates, and it doesn't talk about ruling out pneumonia, whereas the referring physician, they care about ruling out pneumonia, right? So then we send it back to the radiologist. So we have this criteria, and now with this AI, I mean, it's such a powerful thing that sometimes radiologists are busy. They may not look at all the things on the AI, or they may not, like, let's say there are multiple fractures, they may not have noted all of them. So the team, when they look at it, they compare and then they put it back to the radiologist and say, hey, there is a mismatch, and maybe it is valid, right? So, but at least it is prompting the radiologist to take a second look at it, and they look at it and say, oops, okay, let me fix that. Or no, I think I'm good. Just send it up. Right.
Right.
So that extra check makes such a difference. And we do catch quite a few, as
Hmm.
we say. So that
Yeah.
is helping.
It's amazing, the improvements in quality that we're seeing, and I'm seeing in some instances, like you've described, humans involved in this loop of reviewing and checking and revalidating everything. Also, I'm seeing even AI in the role of being this validator. We've seen that with some of these AI reporting based solutions where you do your report, you hit I'm finished, and it says, nope, we got a problem here. You said right, and it was supposed to be left, or, you know, there's a lot of checks. And I think this is just more opportunity for AI to have a deeper influence in the quality of services that we provide. But in the meantime, you guys have taken steps to build a team and take matters into your own hands to get the best quality. I think that's great. And we can be on the lookout for ways to incorporate AI to maybe take the burden off of that team and automate processes as much as possible. Another thing I'm excited about when it comes to quality of to ensuring quality in the services that we're providing as we deploy AI, these platforms have monitoring tools, right? Um, there are built in modules where you can review retrospective discordance rates. How many times did they say it was a fracture, but the report that went out said no fracture, for instance? And then you can see over time, this algorithm hitting good rates that we would expect? Is it dropping off over time? Are we observing some sort of quality drop off that we need to address? I think that's very important when we talk about quality and AI and the safe use of AI. We need a governance strategy to control what's going in, testing, making sure it's being vetted properly, and then monitoring to make sure that it's staying consistent with the level of performance that we would expect long term. So, um, sounds like you guys are in a great place in terms of your efforts for providing the highest quality service. I got to applaud you for that. And I think from a technology standpoint, now you've sort of positioned yourself to grow with this and be successful in the future. So it's been really great to hear some of your perspectives on this. Um, and I guess with that, I think we can wrap up here. Is there anything else you'd like to add about your experiences with AI so far?
No, I mean, I'm really excited that this is an area where, like I said, quality is like the number one in our thing. Obviously, as a CEO, I need to think about return on investment too. And and I think that's why selecting the algorithms is a key aspect, identifying it. So definitely the platform approach really helps because we do try out, Carpal has done a great job in, giving us, why don't you try this? Why don't you try that?
Yeah.
And so
It'd be
we look at,
difficult without a platform to deploy, on-premise servers, GPUs, and integrations and everything. But with the platform, it's really turning on a few checkboxes, and you can start using these things, right? So that's a good point. And another testament to the dedication for quality because one approach is, well, let's just pick the cheapest one that's out there and go with it. But the right approach is certainly to stack them up against each other, evaluate them against your data, and see the performance rates and make some educated decisions based on the value it's giving you, the cost and the performance together, making the right decisions. So glad you brought that
and
up.
also the thing about just in the industry where we are, right? I mean, if you're a hospital radiology group, all the cases are coming in a certain way, then an algorithm can work, right? But in our case, we have so many clients, right? And each client is completely different in how they use their protocols and all these things. And like I said in the beginning, right, there are some facilities which send a lot of pediatric cases, right? I can't use that with some algorithms, right? So now I need to have a different, I can select a different algorithm which is solely dedicated for pediatric and then route that particular facility cases through that algorithm while these other ones, adult ones, go through another one. So we have that flexibility, and that helps because no one solution, it kind of fits all, right? So it is, you have to think through what the strengths are of each algorithm is, and then depending on what kind of cases you're receiving, you route it to the right place and get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate that perspective. And must be a good feeling to know that, with the platform in place, you have so many options available to you and the ability to shift to, if something's not working, to change course with it relatively quickly and easily. To me, that does add a lot of value. So just been great to hear your perspectives on all of this, to get your opinions. And so it's been a pleasure having you, and I'm hopeful that everybody was able to learn a few things here. And as always, if anyone has any questions about um, the implementation of AI for medical imaging, please don't hesitate to reach out to us here at Vega. Be glad to help you. And so, with that, we will conclude this session. But I just want to thank BJ again, and thank you all for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you.